morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for February 26th, 2025. All commissioners are present. Announcements are on the agendas. Extra copies are on the table near the door. First item up on our agenda is for comments for items not on the agenda. Now's your time. Please come forward. This is a reminder. I know you know this, but you're limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Polk. EM Easterly, West Salem. Good morning, commissioners and staff. I come before you to celebrate the first anniversary of the board's procedurally flawed and therefore illegal adoption of Ordinance 2401, and to invite you to correct that error by approving a new ordinance which meets the requirements of ORS 203.045. The procedural errors that made Ordinance 2401 an illegally adopted ordinance include the following. A, Ordinance 2401 was not read twice, 13 days prior to the Board's of Commissioners' adoption of that ordinance. And B, Ordinance 2401 was declared an emergency, but was not unanimously adopted or approved by the Polk County Board of Commissioners. I make this ordinance correction request in light of your pledge and oath of office declaration, which each of you pledged, and I quote, "I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the State of Oregon and the laws thereof." Commissioners Pope and Mordhurst, your vote to adopt Ordinance 2401 last February was and remains illegal because the board's adoption failed to meet the statutory provisions of ORS 203.045 cited above. I encourage each of you to honor your personal oath as a duly elected Polk County Commissioner and demonstrate that the Polk County Board of Commissioners does support and apply Oregon revised statutes when adopting county ordinances. Thank you, gentlemen. That's my presentation.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner. And you for you, sir.
Any other comments? All right, hearing none, we will move forward. Next up is approval of the agenda.
Also move.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Approval of the minutes from February 19th.
I'll move approval. I'll second
It's
that.
been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Dallas Chamber dues and update. So we've had a brief discussion here about the Dallas Chamber dues and have asked the chamber representatives to come forward and have a dialogue with us about where we are on the dues, the justification for the dues, and how we are representing local governments in our dues versus a business. So please come forward.
All right.
to share some of these. And these are for you guys.
Okay.
Good morning, County Commissioners. My name's Sam Duffner. I am the past president of the Chamber of Commerce. You'll notice on the handout that I just gave you, which was our year in review, it lists me as president, but that went on for a couple of years. I finally was able to move on. We have a new president. And with me is Sarah McMaster, our current and past treasurer too. So we have a few things we were going to discuss with you, and then we'll be glad to take questions and answer any of your concerns if you like. The first one is the green paper that we had some copies that I passed around. That is our year in review of what our chamber has accomplished in the last year as a whole in the community in the area. You'll notice the top numbers. The first one, 171 total members. That is an increase of, trying to do math in my head here, roughly 20% over last year. I mean, it's an increase since the last time we had a formal discussion with you guys about membership was back in 2019. And that is an increase in over 100% since that time. So we've been growing strongly. COVID was a huge dip, and then we've come back very strong. 15 new members in the last year. Formally, we've added quite a few actually since then. We just got an email this morning about the newest 2 members, one of which being a brewery here in Dallas. We hosted 44 events. We've got multiple social media accounts that we manage with our new commitment to manage the Dallas Area Visitor Center as well, and where we have 15,000 plus engagements in the last year, over 9,000 followers. We also restarted the farmers market, which you guys all had to have noticed since it was on the county property here, or around the county property here, where we had 12 different dates. The faces you see there, that was last year's board. Our board has been very strong for the last few years. We did have some new board members this year, I believe 4.
Yep.
As I recall. We had one term off. We had one that got transferred. Jeff Saunders got transferred in his business, so he's no longer with us. And there was one other one, as I recall, but no, I don't see it. So she turned off.
Yeah. So 2 off, 4 on.
We've got a bunch of business and government partnerships that we work very diligently to establish and maintain. The first one listed on that next bar, launched a new job portal. We did that in working with the high school and with the workforce development, the Polk Workforce Development Partnership. We've got a new location we're just opening up. It's not quite done yet. We're waiting for contractors to finish up some ADA improvements before we can actually formally open the doors, but that's just a couple blocks away on Jefferson Street here. That will be housing not just the Chamber of Commerce, but we'll also be housing the Visitor Center, and we'll be housing the Dallas Downtown Association is there in there as well. So it'll be basically our community nonprofit center of sorts. Let's see, as part of taking back on the Visitor Center, the Dallas Area Visitor Center, we worked with a contract with the city of Dallas for that. We've been able to hire staff so that we can have full-time staffing in the office there between our director and a part-time staff person. Her name is Sky. She's great. You should go down and visit with her and meet her.
We just got Easter Seals grant for 44 hours for 2 Easter Seals, 44 hours a week for the visitor center.
So there's a variety of other things that I don't need to go through line by line. You can read them at your leisure, but there's a whole bunch of things we're doing. We also do we're very strong in the community in doing networking between businesses and between businesses and government partners, ribbon cuttings, networking and events, our chamber community awards banquet where we recognize our leaders in our community. The list of winners is on the right middle there. And the other thing that I want to put your attention to on that page is their public policy. We're the only chamber around that maintains a public policy committee. And we do that to be able to provide information between government and our community and our business community especially. We don't do that as a way to advocate for people or initiatives. We do that solely as informational. Our committee reviews things and we look to see whether it's beneficial for business. And if so, we'll advocate it. And many of you have been through our candidate forums where we allow you the opportunity to, those elected officials, I'm looking at the staff, but the elected officials, we allow you to communicate with the community, and then we post that on social media as well to be able to get your message out. We don't pick sides. We don't pick a particular person versus another. It's solely an informational thing. We also work with the state chamber with that, and where we're giving information, political information from the state chamber, and we can pass that on to our businesses. For example, right now, our chamber chatter has a whole section on public policy changes that are happening and how that affects our nonprofits in our communities, because we also do a lot to support our nonprofits. So that's where what we've accomplished in the last year, where we're going there. Sarah was going to talk about the handout that she passed out, which is our membership flyer.
So in addition to being the treasurer, I have the pleasure of being the chair of the membership committee. So that's partially also why I'm here. We just redid our membership. We went through the benefit levels and what we offer, kind of bringing it up. It had been shortly after COVID was the last time that had been overhauled. So this is the latest and greatest. Currently, the Polk County is at the business level. So that's on when you open it up, it's on the bottom left-hand side. So you can see in there what that gives you specifically. Just being in that level is the voting privileges, access to those tools on our website. And as Sam had mentioned, we're increasing a lot of the tools that we offer. The chamber chatter, that is included. Priority referrals, and what that is if somebody comes into us and asks, for example, where's a good place to have lunch? We're going to look at our chamber members first and offer those places. Welcome and event packet inclusion. So part of being a visitor center is that we have the welcome packets. We have new people that are moving into the area. We're working with Polk County Association of Realtors to get some of that information into the realtor hands to put in their welcome packets for new residents coming into Dallas, so that at your level, you would be able to include anything in that we give out to them. The membership window clings, opportunities to serve on the board and in our committees. And I do have an opening in the membership committee, just throwing that out there. Full ribbon cutting service for added events. We do ribbon cuttings for any new business coming into Dallas, but if somebody is a chamber member and they have a grand opening or a new location that they want to do, a 5-year anniversary, we've done those. I think most recently it had been the steakhouse, Washington Steakhouse, their 25th anniversary. We did a ribbon cutting for them to help them promote that. We promote announcements and events in our chamber chatter. And we recently partnered with, again, as Sam was talking, some of our partnerships. We're partnering with KMUZ to have radio highlights in one of thetheir morning Willamette Valley shows. And so we're letting our businesses and nonprofits come in and be on the radio and talk about what they do and highlight that. And then we are active on social media, as Sam had said. So we're seeing a lot of increase in our social media. And so we want to make sure we maintain that activity to the level that the public is as well. And so, and above that, and you can see at different levels, we have our business level that has these plus, market level plus, and influence level. Specifically for the county, above and beyond what your basic level membership gets you, we, as Sam said, we host the Chamber of the County meetings, as well as open forums for anything that you guys would like to share with the public, because we consider ourselves to be education focused. And a big part of that is education on what's going on in the government, as well as other sectors in the community.
So one of the other things that we are taking on next year that you guys may have seen is the Leadership Dallas, the program that the city started that was with a partnership with the county and a bunch of other organizations too, where they've taken a group of industry professionals or citizens, whoever wants to sign up for that. And for an entire year, we train them on how government works and how it's pretty much all about how government works, but from different facets. I mean, they'll spend time with you guys here, or somebody here in the county. They'll spend time with somebody in the city. They'll spend time, I don't remember what the whole word, but there was definitely
Healthcare,
financial, healthcare.
nonprofit,
Yeah.
finance, every sector of what makes the city run.
So we're taking that on next year. So that will be a benefit to you as well.
And our director, as you know, Tara Townley, has worked very closely with county government and county and city government, as well as businesses, and she works as a bridge. And that's something that we have actively encouraged for her and support her in. And, you know, having our members and our government have access to her is a big part of what your membership brings, because she is very much a connector in our community. And so access to her is privileged to our members. You know, I know that is a big part of what makes our, you know, our chamber is our director, and having a strong director.
We also are working diligently with the Monmouth Independence Chamber of Commerce. We didn't used to have a really great relationship with them. That's improved drastically. But as a whole, when we look at the Dallas, I mean, we're Dallas area. We're not just Dallas. Our geographical area should include Falls City, Perrydale, Rick Reel, and all the businesses there. And Monmouth Independence is Monmouth Independence. West Salem is its own animal. It has their own business association, and they technically fall under the Salem and Salem Kaiser area chamber. But we could expand into that as well. But primarily, we should be focusing on these small communities around us that don't have representation. And that's honestly something that a partnership with you, should we choose to expand that partnership, should definitely be taking on, because those businesses are not being represented. And part of that's voluntary. I mean, we are a membership organization. They gotta join us to take advantage of what we're offering them, but they are part of our role, and they should definitely be going forward.
Yeah, we're looking at different initiatives. One of the membership committee things that we have talked about is, how do we expand? How do we market ourselves? And how do we represent those communities better? So that is something our 2025.
And we do have
focus is.
good representation with the Polk County Fairgrounds.
Yes, we do.
And Tina Anderson just joined our board, our visitor center board as well, so she'll be part of that. And but there's a lot more to be done in that realm.
So is the fairgrounds paying membership dues too?
They do.
Mhm.
But they're Polk County.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we get to
We
double,
also,
get a double lick there.
well, what we do with them, it's because we can't do an in-kind sponsorship, or they weren't able to do an in-kind sponsorship and back and forth. So they pay dues, but the chamber turned around in equal amount. So they pay $295 to us. We pay $300 for a banner to them. So in the end, it is a wash.
Okay. What's our current invoice? Do you know, Nicole?
Oh, my head, I don't write forever.
Should be $295.
$295, and it has been paid. I show you guys as
Numbers
paid up for the year.
Just doesn't,
Remember it was higher.
yeah, it was quite a bit higher.
Yeah, we're paid for this year, but the other one, I think the invoice we received was the business level market, the $695.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was higher.
Was the last invoice we got, so
Yeah.
I think that's what triggered
It is.
some of the discussion that.
And the question I have for you guys, since you're representing the chambers, who makes these decisions? Without any conversation with the member? I mean, I don't know that I argue about the value, although Polk County is not going to use these elements the same way a business would. But, you know, we were supposed to be at $295. I would argue that the, networking pass is probably more appropriate, but the question is, how did we go from $295 to $695? And then how does that align with the other chambers, Monmouth Independence, for example? I mean, we've reached out and done a study on what we're paying for chamber dues, and Dallas is considerably higher. So that comes for us finally as a question. It's like, well, why are we paying that? What's the value? We're not the same as a business, not the same as a business member. We don't need advertising. We're not taking advantage of a lot of those things. We're trying to be good community partners, and pay a reasonable share. However, I guess that's the question is, how did it change and who makes those decisions?
We did have a recent upgrade in our system to Memby. From what I understand, you guys have always been at the business level. So and me being a business, stepping into my business role, when I received my invoice at my business, it gave me what I did last year, but an opportunity to go increase. I stayed at my level because that's appropriate for the business I have and the benefits thereof. I choose to then support the chamber in other ways, my time and things like that. But as far as monetarily, I did not increase. I wonder if that might have been part of it because from my records I have, you guys have always been at the business level, which was appropriate for your business needs. I do argue that we as a chamber, no, you don't use the same business things that I would at my bank, but as far as being able to help you share the education pieces that you guys have for your initiatives for the county, being able to host those open forums, those are things that we've only given to other in government institutions and healthcare. We used to have State of Healthcare, which Salem Health, due to some of their restructuring, has scaled back on and not utilized, but is something that they are available to them at their level, which is they actually have the growth level, which is our highest level. The city of Dallas, we do a state of the city for them and give them the same things that we give you as far as being able to, have those city halls. We support them, we market them for them. So where you don't have what a business would have, like for Sam, where he has an advertising of a special, you guys would have more of an advertising for an education, the bond coming out, for example, being able to have the chamber share and market for you the town halls that you have for those bonds for that education piece. That's where we partner in. So it's different than we would with a normal business, but we'd like to say that we tailor that to you. So you're not a business, but you have business-esque aspects that we can tailor what we do to you. And I believe that in the past we have by giving those state of the county, those opportunities for marketing to get the community out and hear you guys and what your initiatives are. And that's where our education piece, and education is a huge part of what the chamber is. And that's where we see the partnership with you. To be able to do that, as you know, it takes money. We have to pay Tara's salary and we have to be able to operate a chamber and to grow the way we have, to get the membership, to get the businesses that are seeing our newsletters. That takes money. And so that's where your money comes in. I believe the return on investment is definitely there for you guys.
Couple things to add to that too, so she mentioned the upgrade to Memby. That's a new computer software where we used to use what was called Chamber Master. And Chamber Master was all paper. And so I think where some of the confusion may come in is the new system is much more paperless. And so it's designed and tailored more towards a business that gets an email that says, here's your invoice. I never got a paper invoice. I didn't want a paper invoice. And I get that email and I click on it and it opens up my account and there's options there and I pick whatever I want. It's not so well tailored towards somebody like you that has a board or a nonprofit that has a board where they have to get that invoice and then they print it out. And so I think that a lot of that confusion probably came from a system that wasn't really designed for that as we move forward. But then also I want to say is from your perspective, I think we have to look at things from a little different perspective, especially when we're talking about return on investment. For me, as a business, I'm looking very specifically at these line items and I want these particular things. From your perspective, I think it's more about your role of supporting the business community. And so it's almost, we need to be providing tools for you to be able to support the business community. And that's what we're providing with that membership money, is we're providing support for the businesses that are within Polk County. And as we talk about trying to expand and cover more areas than just Dallas proper, which is our role, that's really where your benefit, your biggest return on investment comes from, is we're here to support the economy that provides I mean, well, even the businesses within Dallas pay taxes to Polk County. I mean, that's true, but the businesses outside, especially that are in this area, they're the driving force in our economy, and they're what keeps this whole system running. And that's I think kind of the perspective we need to be keeping in mind.
So do either of you have a sense of what you're charging other local governments?
Well, like Sarah said, the city of Dallas is at the highest level. They're 3,000. And
It's probably appropriate since they're collecting your transient occupancy tax.
no, because that doesn't come out of the transient occupancy tax. That is for the visitor center, and that's a separate contract, which they're providing us significantly more than that. But because that's managed as a contract, it's not as a dues per se. I mean, they give us 60,000 a year specifically to run a visitor center, that comes out of the transient lodging tax. But they also kick in sponsorships for local events as well, so they're significantly higher. And that's the only government agency that we work with, as I'm aware of. And then the nonprofits are typically at the very lowest level. We got that 149 nonprofit because they're nonprofits, and yeah, and we do specific things for them for that, but they're at the lower level.
Previous experience on other chambers, I think specifically Kaiser and Lincoln County, so that'd be Marion County and Lincoln County. I've seen the local governments at the city level typically higher, and counties typically at a medium level and as far as the dollar value, if that's one of the things we looked around when we settled on the amounts was we did go out and look at what other chambers are charging and what they give. For example, Lincoln City at this level, it's $245, but you only have one networking event a month, and you have to pay $20 because if you want to eat. So you could attend it for free, but if you want to eat, it's typically around $15 to $20. And then beyond that, if you want to advertise in their newsletter, it's $10. We offer that for free for the first. This one would get you one a quarter, then it increases there with your level. As far as social media posts, same, they for each. So where it might be lower and it looks on paper, oh, they're charged less, you're not getting as much, and then they will charge you on the back end if you want to do this and if you want to do that. And they have very limited education pieces when they go there.
One other thing I'd like to bring up is also as part of our partnership, we try to be transparent. We also try to be very strong partners with our government organizations and our larger organizations like our school district, for example, where we provide ex officio positions on our board of directors. That is certainly an option. I might be putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but
I know where you're going.
But if that's something that you decide you would like to do, is to appoint a county official to sit on our board in an ex officio position and sit in on our meetings and see what we're doing. I don't think there would be any problem with that whatsoever. We do it with the Dallas Downtown Association, the school district, and the city right now. And we're not trying to be an exclusive closed door organization. We're trying to bring every voice in and trying to do our best to support the business community. And you have an interest in supporting the business community too. So we would like to have your voice heard as much as possible.
Yeah. And they are open meetings that we have, and we publish when they are, and the public is very much invited to come sit and listen. We have, the previous meeting minutes that we go over, finances, everything's very open. I've had some businesses ask me for the finances. I open the books gladly every time.
So as a businessman, I want to see Main Street thriving because the businesses down Main Street support our little leagues and after school programs and the nonprofits. Nothing happens without a strong business area. So I'm good at the 295 business level where we've been. It just, when we received the bill at $700 and I see what we pay Salem Chamber and Mama's Chamber, that's what just kind of, why are we spending so much in Dallas and so little in the others? But I totally support the 295 level of maintaining that. I think any way we can help. I appreciate the having the ability to post things quarterly on your website. This levy is going to be a big thing for our entire county. And it's a benefit for special emergency outreach if we ever have another catastrophe like what we experienced up the canyon. So
Yeah, I support that as well, and I really appreciate all the work you and the board and the members have put in, and Tara, staff. It's good to see upward trajectories of membership. That's wonderful news. And I of course support the business level contribution. I think there's a little confusion as to what we were being asked to. Hey, we just wanted a little more information about what that meant if dues had gone up. But I just want to speak a bit too about the kind of public policy, local government interaction piece. That's a real two-way street. So one of the benefits for us is that we have a chamber who could discuss issues of concern for the business community and speak to us as a block of constituents, right? So that's a real benefit to any elected official. And you mentioned it's an opportunity for us to advance initiatives, sure, but it's if there's not a two-way street there, then what's the point, right? So really want to encourage any interaction in that realm as possible. And with that, I did talk to Tara briefly about the state of the county, and she's mentioned that there's some thought of combining with other cities and things like that. I'm just curious if a date's been set for that, or if there's any movement there, because a couple of folks have asked who attended last year's.
I would have to have Tara here to double check, but she may be talking about one of the things we are looking to do is a Polk County, like an all-in-one Polk County chamber.
Don't do it.
No, just one meeting. They did it in Marion County, and so they got together.
State of the county, Kevin.
No, and that's where I'm wondering if that's what she had meant was we're gonna do I can't remember the exact name of it, but they did it in Marion County where they had all the chambers came together for like one big 2-hour morning chamber meeting to, really robust, have some, crossover between the chambers. And we're working with a little bit more of that. We changed our Polk County Young Pros into a Polk County After Hours where we are really working to combine and have those opportunities for networking and education countywide versus this. Yeah. And we noticed a lot of us are all doing the same thing. Many hands make light work. Maybe if we all work together to achieve the same thing, we're going to use less resources, less funds. So that's part of it. But I don't know if that's what she was mentioning to you, that it was a conglomerate where we would actually get together and do a Polk County, kind of a Polk County greeters, if you will.
I think that'd be.
And have some opportunity for some speaking there. We might have a couple select few 5 minutes. So that would not be the state of the county, but an option for one of you to, somebody from the county, somebody from each city to speak and just say, so real limited, not state of the county. No.
Okay. Just a thought. So cities, I think Tara did mention others, including other cities in one event. That I think counties and cities, there's a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences.
Mm-hmm.
We have an array of services we provide that cities don't. We're funded differently, we're governed differently, we have different responsibilities, different statutory requirements. Not that we go into the weeds there, but as a member, it might be too broad a stroke to include a rep from every city and the county. I mean, we might be able to highlight a couple of things, but it's entirely up to you. We're partners in this, but as a way to communicate to the public, I find that a lot of folks are surprised by the kind of a range of services the county provides. So
in a greeters forum, it would be more of a lighthearted 5 minutes, just, thank you for coming. We really appreciate maybe a call out of something you guys wanted to highlight real quick. But again, in more of a networking, easy breakfast forum versus, and then the chance to walk around, meet all those businesses and do more of a networking, kind of a feel-good piece versus an actual getting into the weeds.
Instead of a state of the county.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at doing. And it would be an annual thing.
I've always thought that Polk County, we don't have a destination or an attraction that draws people in. Our wineries are doing a great job, but that's kind of about all we have. We don't have falls or anything like that. It's that big draw. but people come to our county to visit family. And all of our communities have some great events. And I've always been after it. We need to open up those so we can cross promote each other's events. We have 90,000 people in Polk County, and we need them to come to experience Dallas. Dallas has got a lot to offer. So does Independence, Monmouth, or West Salem. And how do we get the word out to the people from each community? And that's where I think we really need to work with that collaboration and marketing what we're doing within our own county.
Putting my visitor center hat on because I am on well, Sam's on the board too, the visitor center. That is a lot of taking on and revitalizing the visitor center. That is a big piece. And again, it's Dallas area visitor center. So the falls are one thing that we want to highlight. Gooseneck, we used to have a very thriving BMX and mountain bike area over there. To bring that back, there's a huge, is that Black Rock? Thank you. Black Rock. And then there's also Gooseneck. So there's outside areas that we are looking at bringing back, revitalizing.
Yeah, I appreciate Dallas's participation in the outdoor recreation groups that we've been kind of convening. We have the Polk County Tourism Alliance used to be fairly robust, and the focus was cross-pollination of more chamber activity, but the destination development is a fairly specific ask. And Tyler's been from the city's been involved in that, and I don't know if chamber members would be interested. There's some pretty neat concepts being drawn up for the Gooseneck area. There's a lot kind of in abeyance right now at the federal level, but
I know our visitor center, that is in our minds and something we discuss there.
Recreation destination development will help, obviously, the Dallas community, especially in that area too. There's opportunity there. It just needs to be developed.
And this year is the first year we're going to do a Bigfoot barbecue and brew festival.
All right.
And highlighting our outdoors. So it will be at the Dallas City Park. And so bringing in, again, trying to attract those outside of our 50-mile radius and really create those destinations and bringing in, which brings in funds. It just brings in so much to our community. It's a double or up to a tripler effect on our dollar. So that's something we're really looking forward to.
I will tell you, Tara is a great asset for you. She's a very personal person, and she's not afraid to go out and reach out and talk to anybody. She does a great job.
We love working on, and that's again, some of the dollars that we get is her education. A thriving chamber needs a thriving executive director. And so investing in her education, making sure she's up on new policies. That's doing the budget. That was one of the things I really pushed for is more funds. I mean, we had a very lean budget last year, very lean. This year it's more robust. So I was able to work in some education for her and some of these initiatives. So it's nice.
Okay, thank you very much for giving us a presentation. Okay, next up is our mid-year budget modification resolution 2505. Mr. Hanson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, before you is resolution 25-05. It is the mid-year budget modification resolution. We will have another one at the end of the month in June, prior to the end of the fiscal year, modifying budgets and trying to assure that all appropriations fall within current budget law on that. You can see in your packet and in the memo an outline of all of the individual modifications that we're requesting right now. I can go through each one of those individually if you want, or however you want me to present it. I'll just give you the names of the departments, and then you may have specific questions. In the general fund, we're going to be increasing the elections budget by approximately $30,000, emergency management by $50,000 with a corresponding reduction in fund contingency. In the Public Works Fund, we're increasing the appropriations for the county shops by $150,000 and a corresponding reduction in their operating contingency. Health Services, an increase of $200,000 for family and community outreach, which is a result of additional grant revenues that we did not foresee. That will be an actual increase in the total fund by $200,000, no reduction in contingency there. Public health, family planning increasing by 20, corresponding reduction in contingency. Behavioral health, developmental disabilities, increase of 200,000 with a corresponding reduction in contingency. And then in management services, we have the academy building maintenance, the jail building maintenance, personnel, and then a corresponding reduction in special projects. So those are the modifications. Overall, the total county budget increases by 200,000 as a result of the additional grant revenue. And then the others are fund specific with reductions of contingency. So if you have any questions on any of the specific departments that we are going to be modifying, let me know.
Questions, discussion?
No specific questions. Do you foresee another adjustment before the end of the fiscal?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That we used to only do it once a year in June.
Yeah.
It was recommended by auditors, even though it wasn't required, to probably do a mid-year and a year-end. But we've always had at least one, but we've probably in the last 6-7 years done a mid-year also. So
Well, I appreciate breaking it up rather than doing one big one at the end.
yeah, some of those got pretty big at times. The other thing that will be probably happening sometime in March is we will also have some supplemental budgets for some of our smaller funds. We have a county school fund that I think I budgeted $185,000 for. That's a pass-through fund. We ended up getting revenues of about 217. That passes the 10% threshold, which requires a supplemental budget. We have a couple other funds that we're right on the edge for, so we will probably just do supplemental budgets for those funds, which are outside the budget modification one because they exceed budget law.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the mid-year budget modification resolution number 2505 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the recommendation for resolution 25-05. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? I think I heard it. Aye.
Aye.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Okay. Sounds like it passed unanimously. Thank you. Do we have a need for an executive session?
Yes, sir. The board will meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-660 sub 2H to consult with legal counsel concerning the rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed.